You all set?
But they're allowed to take
Glad we made computers with paperless.
Welcome, members of the public, special guests, councilors, staff, to this March 5th meeting of regular council of the town of Pelham. I declare quorum and call this meeting to order. Second item of business is will you all stand and join us in singing the national anthem? Oh, Canada, our home and native land, true patron all, in all thy sons command. With glowing hearts we see thee rise, the true north strong and free. From far and wide, O Canada, we stand on guard for thee. God keep our land glorious and free. O Canada, we stand on guard for thee. O Canada, we stand on guard for thee. Thank you, everyone, and welcome everyone here. I am sitting in as Deputy Mayor for Mayor Dave Augustine and our CAO Darren Ottaway and our Director of Recreation Vicky Vance Wansway. They are in Halifax for the next couple of days, so bear with me, and I will not speak Hungarian. I'll speak strictly English so that everyone understands. So thank you. First item is the approval of the agenda, and we have a change to the agenda moved by Councillor Ribbiak, seconded by Councillor King. Be it resolved that the agenda for the March 5th, 2018 regular meeting of council be adopted, and the following amendments that are moved by Councillor Ribbiak and King, seconded by King, as follows. Items 14.2 bylaw and 14.3 bylaw will be considered after items 11.2.1. Any comments or questions? All in favor? Thank you. Carried. Now, the agenda as amended. All in favor? Thank you. Next is disclosure of pecuniary interest and the general nature thereof.
None here?
None, Mr. Chair.
None, Mr. Chair.
I have two notices that I have to declare. One is under item 11.2.1, which includes bylaw 14.3. That particular firm my son is an employee with. And item bylaw 14.2, it deals with a zoning amendment to East Fonthill. One of the properties is one of my clients, so I will not be participating in those two items during the course of discussion. Okay. Let's move on to presentations, and I'd like at this point, if I can call upon my good friend, Councillor Kersey, and along with Martin, our fundraising facilitator, if you may proceed with the presentation with respect to our fundraising efforts to date. Councillor Kersey, and we'll start with you, and then Martin. Thank you.
Thank you, Mr. Chair. Council, Mr. Chair, staff, members of the public, honored guests. Tonight marks a milestone in our fundraising activities for the Pelham Community Center. Tonight, with the announcement of these three new gifts, we reached the milestone of $1.7 million. And we still have 9 months to go to raise our goal of $3 million. I think that's a very significant milestone. We're well ahead of our projected timelines. And quite frankly, Council, I'm thrilled. And I have to say, council, that we owe a lot of that fundraising activity and support to our wonderful business community. And the individuals that will be introduced tonight represent the best of the best of our business community. These folks, no matter what we ask, no matter when we go and visit them, they're there to support us. They support Summerfest. They support the music, the band shells in the park. They support virtually every event that goes on in our town. And this time they are stepping up in a big way to support this project, because they realize that this project is truly a transformational or a transformative project for our community. So without further ado, firstly, I'd like to introduce Dr. Richard Taylor. Dr. Taylor, as many of you know, has been practicing chiropractics in our town for well over 30 years, recently retired, that's why he's smiling. But in another role, he represents a community foundation, the Irwin Taylor Community Foundation. And so he will speak first on behalf of the Irwin Taylor Foundation, who have made also a wonderful gift in support of the PCC. I understand from talking to Dr. Taylor that when Mr. Taylor passed away, Irwin Taylor passed away, he established this foundation, and the intent of the foundation was to give back to the community and also to pay forward for the benefit of the community. So if a project truly encapsulated or captured a benefit, a strong benefit for the community, the foundation would support it. So without further ado, Dr. Taylor, could you come up and say a few words for us, please?
Pardon me, thank you. Irwin Taylor was my uncle. I knew him well, so I think I can speak well to the thoughts and the feelings of him. The mission statement of the foundation is to give back to a community that gave so much to him. We made an initial donation as a board, sight unseen. Basically, we didn't look at the facility at all, really, to any other than from the outside. So when we did the tour, were so impressed with it that we doubled the donation to the foundation, of the foundation to the facility. And I think if my uncle were here, today he might double the donation again. I think that I can speak to the fact that he would be very pleased with his contribution. The other issue was, my personal issue was programs. You know, it's good and wonderful to build a facility, but if you don't run programs, the lights are on and no one's home. So my discussion with Dr. Accursi is, yeah, but what are the programs going to be? You know, because we have facilities now that we're not using to the maximum. And so when we went through the foundation, the structure of how it was built speaks very well to the function and how it's going to be used. You know, the walking track and the common use where, you know, you can have a banquet function and on and all the different things, how the auditorium could be broken up, and all of the different groups that are coming back or coming in to start using the facility this summer made me very happy to see. Just in closing, in my uncle's home was a poem by Kipling. And one of the lines in that poem is, if you can trust yourself when all men doubt you, but make allowances for their doubting too. So, you know that poem. I would like to congratulate and commend council and staff for living up to what Kipling said in that poem. I think that there's been a lot of naysayers, and I think council and staff has trusted their skills, trusted their decision-making, when a lot of people around here didn't. So it looks like some things are going to happen. The budget has come in on budget, on time, and this summer, everything's going to be fine. So, thank you very much.
Have an unveiling here now.
Oh, okay. Will there be a pony?
That speaks the program, yeah?
I'm glad they're doing the talking, I'm just gonna be in the picture.
Get something behind it, like,
Oh, you want something there?
How's that?
like that. And you should put one in up here, so we, perfect, just like that. And big smiles looking right at the end of this giant camera lens.
Santa Claus, that's what I laughed at.
And looking right here, guys, you can smile a little better than that. It's a lot of money. Awesome, thank you.
Thank you so much. Thank you.
Thank you.
Well, we let Richard go back to his seat because we're gonna call him back up in about 30 seconds. But as I alluded to earlier, Richard has been a practicing chiropractor for over 30 years. And so in his way, he contributed to the health and well-being of our community. And so it wasn't only just with his money, but with his heart and his hands and his skills. And joining him next at the podium and sitting next to him is the better looking half of the partnership. Pia. And he also has a healthcare background, and currently operates a very successful business called Contour Foot Care in town. And employs, I don't know now, 5 people you're up to now, Tia, and growing every day, doing extremely well. And whenever I go in and see Tia, she says, "How much do you need today?" Because she knows why I'm there. But a wonderful couple, deeply committed to the community. I just can't say enough about them, and maybe I'll shut up and let them come forward and make a statement.
Just gotta make sure he's beside me, my tower. Thank you. I'm not really good at talking until I get going, and then I don't shut up, so I do apologize. I've been wanting to do something for the community for a very, very long time. I just didn't know what it was. I grew up here from the time I was a child onwards, and as a child growing up in Font Hill area, there was never enough or much of anything going on for kids. And I thought, that's just not, as a former employee used to say, that's just not righteous. So when this opportunity came along, I felt this was my calling. So I, like the Irwin Taylor Foundation, I started out with a certain sum, and then we did the tour, and I was overcome, just, I can't even express myself. But having said that, I'm very proud of the community center that's going up. I think each person in this room should be extremely proud of all their efforts and their time and everything else that's gone into doing what you've had to do and what you've had to endure to make this happen. And I think, I know for myself, I'm extremely proud of it, and every day I'm happy and proud to say that I live in Pelham. When I was a kid growing up and I said I lived in Font Hill, it was, where's that? They didn't know where that was. As recent as today, I came back from Toronto, and when asked where we were from, when I said Font Hill, I didn't even have to tell them how to spell the word, how to spell it, let alone where we were from. So it gives me great, great pleasure to be able to give back to the community. My business it does very well because of the support from everybody here in the community. And I'm also sort of doing it in memory of my parents, because my parents did a lot for the community and recreation was extremely important to them. So this is also in honor of them as well. So have fun with it.
Do a picture?
hands the lens again. Yeah, for some of you. And one more, looking right up here, chins up. Everybody looks fantastic.
Well, I'll continue my saga of community support provided by our business community. The next business that is stepping up here has literally been in this community for half a century. It was started by a father and subsequently passed on to the sons. And the sons continue to pay homage to the outstanding skills and character that the father demonstrated during the entire time that he was developing in our community, what he gave to our community. If you look at the communities that have been developed by the Lucetta father and now sons, they are the most outstanding communities in our community. They speak of great talent, they speak of great pride, and they speak of great character. So I'm absolutely thrilled and overwhelmed that the Lucetta boys, Robert and Eddie, decided to step up and give back to the community and pay back for what they've earned from the community, but pay forward to what they're going to continue to give to the community. So I'd like to call on them to come forward and say a few words.
That was very nice, Gary. We're more nails and hammers kind of guys, so don't expect too much from us. But I got to tell you, we love Pelham, okay? Pelham has been very good to our family. And so, when this opportunity to support the Pelham Community Center came up, we thought it was a perfect time to give back to the community that has given back so much to us. Lucetta Homes, has been building beautiful homes in the area for many years. Council, the community, and staff have all supported us over the years with all our ideas and our projects. And this is a way for us to say thank you to everyone. So, our children have benefited from this immensely in the past because Pelham did have some programs. You had some of the local clubs, and of course you had those famous summer camps, which we were very happy to be involved in because we knew where our kids were going to be for a whole week, and so that was nice. And our children loved that, and in fact, to the point where a couple of our girls actually became what they call leaders in training, and so they had a lot of great memories in that too. And again, that's a good thing, and it's basically the start of that sense of community that you can get even as a young age. So, my brother and I have been big supporters of the growth of Pelham, and we know it's taken a lot of courage, a lot of persistence, and a lot of foresight, right, to for the Pelham Council, the steering committee, and all its many volunteers to bring this project forward, because there have been, as we talked about before, a lot of naysayers here, right? It's been a very controversial project, but you guys had the fortitude to continue forward, and you can see now that this is going to become a catalyst for growth. You can see all the new homes and all the new commercial opportunities starting, and so you can see already the success that this is going to start. This is going to start the success of many good things to come for Pelham. It's going to bring a lot of new residents to Pelham, not only now, but for years to come, I think. We had a chance to tour the site about a month ago or so, and we were amazed by the size and the versatility of that site. We were lucky to have the tour by Gary, Martin, and that crusty old salt Doug. He had a lot of choice words for people. It's a great layout. You can see that it's going to be great for most all of Pelham citizens, and it's going to treat a lot and be good for a lot of the diverse needs that we have in Pelham. Surely that's going to become like a vibrant hub of activity that I don't think Pelham really ever had before, but you can see now that's definitely what it's going to become. Not only for the young and old of Pelham, but also for many years to come. Not only today, but for many years to come. I was surprised actually even you guys had started already a pickleball league. So I mean, talk about thinking of everything, right? So I thought that was pretty amazing. So.
Like Rob had mentioned, when we came to see the site, we were surprised, I guess, at the magnitude of the site for a small community like this. And I think it's, again, looking forward, it might not even be big enough, actually. People think it's too big. I don't even think it's big enough, or we don't think it's big enough. But it has a lot of things that we see that we would actually even see in our own homes. So all those attention to detail type items that will definitely make this building look phenomenal for years to come. And, it's a pleasure and an honor to be able to be part of this legacy project that will benefit Pelham and its citizens for generations to come. And, we can't wait for the official grand opening in July, if it is July, Gary? But, yeah. Anyways, let's be Pelham proud. All right, thank you.
Thank you. Thanks, Gary.
Thank you.
Yeah, he's one of you guys.
Okay, so if we do this for a slightly different angle, you're gonna look over here. Over here, Peter. Big smiles. And we're just gonna do one head on like this. Last one, I promise. Big smiles. Perfect. Thanks.
Thank you. Thank you, Chair.
Ladies and gentlemen, let's one more round of applause. Thank you again.
Thank you very much, Gary.
All right, what a great way to start the evening. It just goes to show you our citizens, these business community people, many of the people that are involved in working and playing and staying here. And I'm so proud, I think all of us are. And especially I want to spend, again, as we have done before, extend a special thank you to Councillor Kersey, because I know you and Martin work extensively behind the scenes. You don't see this all the time. And when you're involved in fundraising, it takes a very special element of trust and confidence for them to come through. So thank you, Councillor Kersey, and thank you to all of you involved. Okay, now we will move on to delegations. There are none tonight. Report of the regional councillor. I don't think there is a report. So item 6, adoption of minutes. And it's moved by Councillor King, seconded by Councillor Durley. Be it resolved, the following minutes be adopted as printed, circulated in red. 1, SC 04-218, special council meeting minutes held February 20th, 2018, and C 03-218, council minutes held February the 20th, 2018. Comments or any changes? All in favor? Carried. Any business arising from the minutes? Hearing none, we'll move on. Our next session, item 8, it's a request to lift any consent agenda items for separate consideration. Are there any items that members would like to lift? Hearing none? Okay. Moved by Councillor Durley, seconded by Councillor King. Be it resolved, the following consent agenda items be received and recommendations contained therein be approved as follows. Presentation of recommendations arising from policy and priority for council approval Be resolved the recommendations from PMP 2018 and held on February 20th, 2018 is presented. Minutes approval. Be it resolved the following minutes be adopted as printed and circulated and read. Those being the Policy and Priorities Committee meeting of February 20th, 2018. The receipt of action correspondence as follows. Be it resolved the Council received the correspondence dated February 26th, 2018 from the Pelham Art Festival Incorporated, and the community event status be received, and the festival therein be designated as a community event of municipal significance, and the clerk be directed to advise the Pelham Art representative as accordingly. Information correspondence items. First item is 9.5.1. That be resolved the Council received the February 15th Ontario Community Infrastructure Fund top-up application decision for information. Item 9.52, that the City of Port Colborne be resolved the Council received the correspondence from the City of Port Colborne dated February 15th regarding the request of the Ontario municipalities to adopt a resolution that calls on the Ministry of Environment and Climate Change to accelerate the application for the review of municipal class environmental assessment process. 9.5.3, from the Niagara Region, be it resolved that the Council received correspondence from the Niagara Region dated February 20th respecting their resolution integrated customer policies, transit services, LTNC C3 2018. 9.54, Township of Wainfleet, MPCA, be it resolved that the Council receive information correspondence from the Township of Wainfleet dated February 26th regarding the report PDS 472017 respecting the Niagara Peninsula Conservation Authority, and that the Living Landscape Draft Policy document for information. 9.5.5, that be resolved that the Council receive correspondence from the Town of Lincoln dated February 22nd regarding the endorsement of the City's Port Colborne's resolution and a motion regarding Regional Council approval of the Audit Committee recommendations respecting the Town of Pelham's financial position for information. 9.5.6, that be it resolved that the Council received correspondence from the Town of Fort Erie dated February 27th, 2018 regarding a resolution objecting to the region and its audit committee interfering in the local municipalities' finances for information. 9.7.1, these are committee minutes, that be it resolved that the Council received the Committee of Adjustment minutes dated July 11th, 2017, August 1st, 2017, and September 12th, 2017. 9.7.2, be it resolved that the Council received the Pelham Art Advisory Committee meeting minutes dated January 10th, 2018 for information. Members of Council, any comments or questions? Councilor Ribia.
Thank you. Just want to make note of 955, the Town of Lincoln's resolution in support of the Port Colborne position regarding the Town of Pelham. I just want to note that with considerable gratitude to their wisdom.
Thank you, Councilor Ribia. Anyone else? That being said, all in favor? Carried. Presentation on consideration of reports of council. At this point, before I move to 11.2, I just want to call upon my colleague, Councillor Kersey, just to briefly let council and the members of the public know of a presentation that Councillor Kersey and the mayor were involved in Hamilton. Councillor Kersey.
Thank you, Mr. Chair. It's with great pleasure that the mayor and myself, along with staff from Recreation, Culture and Wellness, Vicky Van Ravensway, Jody and Sally, attended the FEO conference on Saturday evening, their gala. I guess it was Friday evening. And at this gala, Mr. Chair, Pelham again was chosen as one of the top 100 festivals in Ontario by FEO. That is fourth year in a row. And I guess they like what we do. In addition to that, I'm proud to say that the initiative that was undertaken by our staff to green supper market was a raving success. And it was acknowledged by FEO in choosing the supper market as the best greening festival in all of Ontario. So we came home with two very significant awards, and all of our staff and volunteers should be extremely proud of the effort that they put forward. So thank you for the opportunity, Mr. Chair.
Thank you, Councillor Kersey. And we are, at some point later on, we will bring all the staff forward and we'll acknowledge this more formally, but I thought everyone in the general public should realize that these special recognitions were taking place. Thank you, Councillor Kersey. At this point, can I ask Councillor Ribbiak to step in for items 11.2.1 and along with the accompanying bylaw? Thank you, Councillor Ribbiak.
Thank you. I didn't bring my pen. Should bring that. Okay, moving on to agenda item 11.2.1, moved by Councillor Lane, seconded by Councillor Kersey. Be it resolved that Council receive this Department of Community Planning and Development recommendation report as it pertains to application file number AM07-17, 1105 Baxter Lane and 769 Welland Road, and that Council adopt the bylaw authorizing the removal of the holding provision on the subject lands. Discussion. Comments? Councillor Kersey?
Thank you, Mr. Chair. I'll make a very brief comment. We examined this project back in 2016. There were a number of issues that the developer had to deal with. He has subsequently dealt with them. And this is another one of those projects that I view as being transformative of a community. This will create housing for folks that want to stay in the community, want to get out of their home, but will have a lovely place to live. They'll have all the amenities. They'll be within walking distance of the downtown, of our new library. I see this as nothing but a good news story for the community of Fenwick and for the downtown of Fenwick especially. I think businesses down there will greatly benefit because it's been proven time and again when communities bring people to their downtown core, the downtown core is revitalized. And one of the first communities in Ontario that embraced that philosophy was Hamilton. And Hamilton, in many of their areas, have transformed their downtown cores to living spaces as opposed to dead zones. And I think that we'll see this similar type of transformation with this project, one of a couple that are coming forward, but very supportive of this, Mr. Chair. I'm very pleased to see this happen.
Thank you, Councillor Kersey. Comments from anyone else? No, I want to echo those as councillor in Ward 1 and the resident of Fenwick. I also see the potential for growth and development in Fenwick, not of a type that is at all negative, but it's housing and it's people walking on the streets and patronizing businesses there. I can see that the number of residents, I think it's some 70, is it 75 units, plus staff of a considerable number that will be in the area. That coupled with other developments that are going on in Fenwick or planned to be in Fenwick over the next year and 2 or 3 years, I think mean that Fenwick as part of Pelham will be growing, thriving, and becoming the very vibrant place it once was. I remember when I was a kid, there was an awful lot going on there, but that was 50 years ago or more. I'd like to see it coming back. One question to our director. So any other hurdles for them to cross before they begin?
Through you, Mr. Chair, they still need to deal with their site plan. They have made their site plan application. There was an initial review of it. We provided comments back to them. We're awaiting a revised submission from them, and we anticipate that to be coming shortly. But we also anticipate being able to bring a report to council on the final site plan approval shortly. We're working through some issues with them on the servicing side.
Excellent. What is your anticipated date of commencement?
Until I get a revised submission back from them, it's hard for me to give you a date. They've had our comments since the end of November, so I am expecting that a revised submission will be coming in shortly. We would be able to turn that around if all the comments are adequately addressed within probably a month or two, so.
Oh, excellent, excellent. Any other comments? Terrific. Then hearing none, all in favor? Carried. Where do I sign?
Aren't residents of Pelham allowed to speak on this?
This is not a public meeting, this is a council meeting.
But why would it send a notice?
I can't answer that question. All I'm saying is that this is... Ask your question, sir.
No, Barb will answer the question about the public notice.
So,
The question with regard to public notice?
yes, Mr. Chair, through you, there's no requirement for a public meeting to lift the holding zone. We are required to give notice of intention to pass the bylaw to lift the holding zone. There was a public meeting on this issue when we considered the zoning bylaw initially, but under the Planning Act, there is no requirement for a public meeting to lift the holding zone.
So in other words, all we do is just ignore what went on at the other meeting.
Please, order. It's been passed. I sign here. Moving on to the next item on the agenda.
You'll read this and then these two bylaws.
Okay. So this is agenda number 14. Moved by Councillor Durley, seconded by Councillor King. Be it resolved that the Council of the Town of Pelham, having given due consideration to the following bylaws, do now read a first, second, and third time and do pass same, and that the mayor, clerk, and clerk be and hereby authorized to sign and seal the bylaws. The first one of the two we're going to look at is bylaw number 3974, 2018, being a bylaw to amend zoning bylaw 1136, 1987, as amended for lands located on blocks 1 and 3, Plan 59M-432 being the Village of East Font Hill subdivision from EFMU1 to EFMU2, EFOS to EFMU2, EFOS to EFMU3, EFMU1 to EFOS, EFMU3 to EFOS. Do separately, put together. And the second of those is bylaw number 3975, 2018, being a bylaw to remove the holding provision executed via bylaw number 3763, 2016 for the lands located at the northeast corner of Baxter Lane and Welland Road, municipally known as 1105 Baxter Lane, legally described as part of Lot 4, NP 703, and municipally known as 769 Welland Road, legally described as part of Lots 5 and 7, NP 703, 59R-4772, 1875159 Baxter Inc., Baxter Hall, file number AM0717. Comments? Discussion? All in favor? Can you let Councillor Papp know to return? So this one.
Thank you.
Thank you, Councillor Ribbiak. All right.
Just read the preamble and this.
Just that one. All right. On to the presentation and consideration of bylaws. There's only one because I know you've dealt with the other two. Be it resolved, the Council of the Town of Pelham, having given due consideration to the following bylaws, do now read a first, second, and third time and do pass same. That the mayor and the clerk be hereby authorized to sign and seal the bylaws. Bylaw being number 3973, 2018, being a bylaw to repeal and replace Bylaw number 3840, 2017, to establish 2018 fees and charges to be collected by the Corporation of the Town of Pelham. Comments? Hearing none? All in favor? Carried. Thank you. There are no notices of motion, there's no matters for committee of the whole, and there's no matters arising out of committee of the whole, and no matters related to in-camera items. Therefore, be moved by Councillor Lane, seconded by Councillor Durley. Be a result of the following bylaw being read a first and second, third time be passed, being a bylaw 3976, 2018, to identify, ratify, and confirm the proceedings of the Town of Council meeting at its regular meeting held on the 5th day of March 2018. All in favor? Carried. This meeting is now adjourned. Oh, pardon me, sorry.
Oh, yep, that's
Not-
confirming.
I'm ahead of myself, sorry. I moved by Councillor Durley and second by Councillor King that be it resolved, this regular meeting of council be adjourned until the next regular meeting of council scheduled for March the 19th, 2018 at 6:30 PM. All in favor? This meeting is now adjourned. And if I can ask the members of council, we take a quick 90-second break and then you want to move right into committee?